Hey everybody, in this video, this is going to be titled The Power of a Number 42. And it's related to the 42 months mentioned for the two witnesses in Revelations. Now, if you remember, the 42 months is equivalent to 1,260 days. Now, we're going to be discussing the importance of the number 42 and how it relates to real life. So I started off with the Great Pyramid's corner, a 42-degree angle. It's equal to the critical angle of a rainbow. What's this mean? It means that the same angle that you look from to the top of a rainbow, that is the critical angle. So in other words, from your eyes to the top of a rainbow is known as the critical angle, otherwise known as the 42-degree angle, also found on the Great Pyramid's corners. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. But this is also only one of the times where we find the number 42. In the Bible, other places mention the number 42 as well. For example, 2 Kings 2:23. And in 2 Kings 2, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Ezra. 2 Kings 2:23, it says, "And he went up from thence unto Bethel." Keep that in mind. Bethel. Think Bethlehem, Bethel. "And as he was going up by the way," think of going up by the way at an angle, "came forth little children out of the city." So we're going to be talking about a city. Think Giza being within a city. "And mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head. And he turned back, and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tare 42 children of them." Your two witnesses, 2 she-bears, and they tear 42 children apiece. 2 times 42 is what? It's 84. Now, I just want to keep this in mind. 42, 42. 2 sets of 42 is equal also to 2 sets of 1,260, which is equal to 2520, which is equal to a 7-year calendar using 360 days. So 7 sets of 360 is equal to 2520. Now, then we have Ezra 2:24. It says, "The men of Anathoth," 128, "the descendants of Asmaveth," 42. Now, what's important about Asmaveth? Well, Asmaveth means death is strong, or strong to death. This name is one of David's mighty men called the Baharumite in 1 Chronicles 11:33, or the Barhumite in 2 Samuel 23:31. It is also the name of a Benjamite who is the son of Jehoiada, son of Ahaz, in 1 Chronicles 8:36, and one of David's royal officers who was the son of Adiel in 1 Chronicles 27:25. Notice they're all related to David and the Benjamites. Then there is a Asmaveth listed among the exilic returnees mentioned by Ezra 2:24, which I just mentioned. Nehemiah calls him Beth Asmaveth, Bethlehem, which typically looks like the town name of a town. This is found in Ezra 7:28. And both Ezra and Nehemiah placed names of towns on their list. Bethel and Ai or I, Kiriath Aram, Jericho, Hebron. So it's not clear whether the Asmaveth of Ezra 2:24 is a man or a town. Well, what if it's both? Because think about this. That great city, Babylon. This is seen as both a man and a city. Think of Iscariot, Judas Iscariot. Iscariot is a man, but his name translates to mean a city dweller. And then Nehemiah makes mention of a town called Asmaveth in Nehemiah 12:29. And I'll read from 27 to 29. At the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, remember the critical angle of a rainbow, pyramid corner, wall. At the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, the Levites were sought out from all their homes and brought to Jerusalem to celebrate the joyous dedication with thanksgiving and singing. Kind of like Moses's people when they were released from Egypt. They sang songs, accompanied by cymbals, harps, and lyres. The singers were also assembled from the region around Jerusalem, from the villages of the Netophathites, from Beth Gilgal, and from the fields of Geba and Asmaveth, for they had built villages for themselves all around Jerusalem. Interesting. Wall of Jerusalem, a city having to do with Bethlehem by way of Beth Gilgal. So, after the priests and Levites had purified themselves, they purified the people, the gates, and the wall. So it deals with the wall and purification. Then I brought the leaders of Judah up on the wall. Think of Judas climbing up to the top of a hill and then casting himself off. And I appointed two great thanksgiving choirs. Two witnesses, two choirs. One was to proceed along the top of the wall to the right, toward the dung gate, or heap gate, dung, a heap of trash. And let's skip a little bit ahead. And the others at the second Thanksgiving choir were to proceed to the left, and they followed half the people along the top of the wall, past the tower of the ovens, think of cooking, to the broad wall, over the gate of Ephraim, the Jeshanah gate, the fish gate, the tower of Hananel, and the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate, and they stopped at the gate of the guard. The guard. How many angels guarded the way to the tree of life? Two witnesses. So one is at the gate of the guard, and one is at the dung gate. So you are still seeing these references to the two witnesses and the 42. So now I'm going to erase this and put some more facts up here. Alright. Now, on the pyramids location in relation to the North and South Pole, we have something known as the Grand Circle. Grand Circle. Alright, this is located at 59 degrees, 42 feet. 42. And that is north. It is also 139.17 feet. It is exactly 6,215 miles from the north and south poles. Okay? A while back, there was a study on something known as a gravity train. This was done by Paul Cooper. Equals 42 minutes. This was later proven false, but it was still a interesting study. Next, we have Mars orbit. Now, if you remember, in the past, in the ancient times, Mars was considered a god, the god of war. Mars orbit equals 42 times and 79 years based on the Babylonian calculations. Now, 79 times 2, what is it? It is 158. Now, 158 years. That's an interesting number. 158 times 2. What is it? 316. John 3:16. Ever heard of that? But that's not it. We also get more things related to the number 42 that's going to become even more shocking than that. Alright, so next, I'm just going to say this one. There are 42 sections of sutra. There are 42 U.S. gallons in a barrel of oil. There are 42 questions asked of persons making the journey through death based on Egypt beliefs. Now this one, 42 months equals wine. It takes about 42 months to first get a good harvest for winemaking, and then it takes another 42 months to process the wine into actual wine. This came from a site on how to make Sovereign. I think that's the type of wine it was called. Let me look up the proper name. 42 month. It's hard to type like this. M-O-N-Y. Okay. The Sovereign Cabernet. I'm trying to find it. Oh well. I'll look it up a little bit later. Let's continue. You can look it up online and it'll tell you. Anyway, so next we have a veer to the left, sort of. We're going to start talking about how it's tied to nature. And the type of nature I'm going to be discussing are bees. And it's very interesting. Now, 42. 42 divided by 2 equals what? 21. So, if you remember Daniel chapter 10, 3 weeks for the angel to appear before Daniel. 3 weeks, 21 days. And Ezekiel equates 1 day to a year. So you could also say 21 years. Now, the number 21, from days 18 to 21, worker bees guard the hive. From age 22 to 42, this is their end of life when they forage. All worker bees are female, and they are known as water collectors for the honey. 1260 divided by 2 equals 30. In Isaiah, it states, from one new moon to another, all will be completed. This is the last verse in Isaiah. Excuse me. Now, I've already mentioned that 2 sets of 1260 times 2 equals 2520. Now, the sacred cubit equals 25.20 inches. Now, that's really interesting too. And we're going to continue by erasing this, and we're going to move on to Noah's Ark related to the number 42. Now, Noah's Ark's dimensions are, it has a 300 length ark. By 50 breadth or width. By 30 height. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply these numbers by the sacred cubit, 25.20. So, times 25.20 for all of these. So for the 300, you end up with 75. Hold up. Yeah, 60 inches. This also converts into 630 feet. All right. This also converts into 420 normal cubits. Then, if you do the 30, it's pretty much the same deal, except you're going to have, let's see, 756. I'm just going to do the 63 feet or the 42 cubits. And then, if you do the 50, this equals 1260 inches, or 105 feet. 1260 inches, 105 feet. And it is 70 cubits. There's a good number there. 70 weeks of Daniel. 420 by 70 by 42. Interesting. Now, if you add these up, 420 plus 70 plus 42, you get 532. All right? The number of Easter dates that repeat on a Easter dates don't repeat until a 532 year cycle happens. In other words, you'll have several Easters in a row, but they will not be a repeating cycle until they've reached the 532 years. So in other words, one Easter to another Easter on the exact same date, it will take 532 years to get to that cycle. This is called the Victorian cycle. You can also think of it as 19 times 28. We'll be talking about that number 28 in a little bit. Now, something else about 532. If you take 532, divide it by 2, you get 266. This is the number of days for gestation of a human. The number of days before a human is born. 266 days approximately. On average, 266 days. Interesting, right? All right, now I'm going to get me some more room by erasing this. I'll probably put the 19 times 28 back. We'll see. Okay. Okay. Sorry, it takes a little bit to get it all down. All right. So back to the 19 times 28. If you confine a queen bee to get larvae, it will take a total of 28 days before you have a laying queen. 2 Kings 10:36. You have Jehu's reign being equivalent to 28 years. 28 days equals 1 lunar month. Equals days Buddha was under a fig tree thinking, contemplating. In the Great Gallery in the Great Pyramid, there are 28 mini tombs in the wall of stone. Osiris, 28-year reign. In Cabal and Hindu, 1 day and 1 night of Brahma equals 28 existences of Indra. Chinese zodiac, 28 animals. 40 times 28 equals 1120. And then, if you divide that by 140, you get the number 8, which is the number of Noah's family. How many people are on the ark? 28 equals 7 times 4 equals a 28-year solar cycle. 28-year solar cycle. There are also typically 28 days in a menstrual cycle. In the Bible, the number 13 is used 28 times. 13 times 28 equals 364. 1 day off from a 365-day year. 28 heartbeats for red globules to traverse all the human circuits in the body. 2520 divided by 28 equals 90. 532 divided by 7 equals 76. 532 divided by 14 equals 38 days. Approximate start of fertility for drone bees. 24 days equals average development period, or equal to 38 minus 24 equals 14. 14 times 38 equals 532. So not only do you have the 28 days being related to the before a laying of a queen, but it's also 38 days for the approximate start for the fertility for drone bees. John 5:5, man at the pool for 38 years. So, numbers. Interesting, right? Connections. Something you got to think about when reading these ancient texts. Is there some underlying meaning? So thank you for watching, and I hope you've learned something. I bet you didn't know that you could calculate the 583. What was it? I think it was 83. No, 532 year cycle for repeating Easter dates. And this was actually done by, if I remember correctly, the Catholic Church at one point to try to correct their dates to match up Easter to whenever it was supposed to happen, according to the old Orthodox or Catholic Church. I don't remember. I'm not 100% on that. But it's really interesting. And I remember seeing a video done with Neil deGrasse Tyson on a talk show with Joe Rogan, where he had talked about the Catholic Church devising a most accurate repetition of years calendar. And I found that video interesting. So now it goes to show you there's something else that has that calculation in mind, and it's Noah's Ark. It's related to a calendar. Interesting. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that you take this into account when you read your different religious texts. Thank you.